Clint Eastwood had always been a man of solitude. His sprawling mansion was his sanctuary, a place to relax, away from the flashing cameras, the Hollywood glitz, and the constant demands of fame. But today, as he stepped out onto his back patio, something was different. The warm breeze felt off. His eyes scanned the area, and that's when he saw her. A woman, clearly not from the neighborhood, lounging in his hot tub. Not just any woman, Karen, the infamous HOA representative, known for her strict rules and unrelenting sense of entitlement. Clint couldn't believe his eyes. "What the hell is she doing here?" he muttered to himself. His hot tub, a symbol of peace and relaxation, was now the scene of an invasion. Clint walked towards her, his voice steady but laced with confusion. "Excuse me, what do you think you're doing?" Karen looked up from the bubbling water, a grin creeping across her face. "Oh, Clint, don't make a scene. I'm just enjoying your hot tub. It's actually quite nice. You should use it more often." Clint felt his blood boil. This wasn't just some random intruder. This was a woman who had made it her mission to dictate every single aspect of neighborhood life. From lawn height to driveway cleanliness, Karen had been the bane of every homeowner in the area. But now she was in his personal space, mocking him in his own home. "This is my property. You can't just walk in and—" "Oh, I'm sure I can," Karen interrupted, leaning back in the hot tub with a smug look on her face. "You know, Clint, you've been a bit rebellious with the HOA rules lately. It's time for you to learn the consequences." Clint's mind raced. What was she talking about? What consequences? And then it hit him. The recent violation. Notices he had received from the HOA. His pool wasn't the right shade of blue, his hedge was a foot too tall, and don't even get him started on the trash cans. He had always ignored the complaints, dismissing them as petty. But now Karen had crossed the line. And Clint knew one thing. He wasn't about to let her destroy his peace. Not now. Not ever. Clint stood still, his fists clenching at his sides. "You have no right to be here, Karen. You're trespassing." Karen raised an eyebrow and crossed her arms, unbothered by Clint's anger. "Oh, I have every right, Clint. As part of the HOA, it's my duty to ensure all residents comply with the rules. And let's just say, you're on the verge of a major fine for not following protocol." Clint's patience was starting to run thin. "A fine? For what?" "For your pool water. It's the wrong color," she replied, her tone dripping with smug satisfaction. "And those hedges, well, they're too tall. They block the view of the street. It's not up to code. You've had several warnings, Clint. And now, I'm here to make sure you pay for your negligence." Clint stared at her, disbelief flashing in his eyes. "Are you kidding me? You're sitting in my hot tub lecturing me about my hedges?" Karen didn't flinch. "It's not just about the hedges. It's about the image you project. People like you, Clint, think they can get away with everything because you're a celebrity. Well, I'm here to remind you that you're not above the law." Clint took a deep breath, his anger rising. He had dealt with critics, naysayers, and enemies his whole life. But this was personal. The thought of his peaceful retreat being invaded by this self-righteous woman made his blood boil. But what happened next would change everything. Clint didn't say a word. Instead, he walked to the edge of the hot tub, staring down at the woman with a cold, calculating look. He wasn't just going to let this slide. He needed to take action, but not in the way Karen expected. Without a word, Clint hit the button to activate the jets in the hot tub, sending a powerful surge of water splashing towards Karen. She yelped, trying to maintain her composure, but the force of the water pushed her to the side. "What the hell?" she screamed. Clint's expression remained unchanged. "You're trespassing, Karen. You didn't think this would come without consequences, did you?" Karen scrambled to maintain her balance in the now violent waves of water. "You can't do this. I'll report you to the HOA." Clint leaned forward, his voice low and serious. "Go ahead, report me. But I'll make sure the world knows exactly what you did here today. How you crossed the line and took advantage of your position. You think you can just walk all over people and get away with it? Think again." As Karen struggled to regain her composure, Clint turned and started to walk away. But just before he reached the door to the house, he stopped and looked back over his shoulder. "And Karen, next time you try to take control of someone else's life, remember this moment." Karen glared at him, seething with anger. "You'll regret this, Clint." Clint simply shrugged and stepped inside, leaving her in the hot tub. What happened next would surprise everyone, including the HOA. The next day, Clint's story was all over the local news. Word had spread fast. Clint Eastwood, the Hollywood icon, had just put HOA Karen in her place. The footage of Karen being thrown around in the hot tub, helpless against the jets, was shared online and quickly went viral. People couldn't get enough of it. The video was filled with people's comments and reactions, with most siding with Clint. "She deserved it," one comment read. "No one should have to deal with that kind of nonsense." Others were more blunt. "This Karen got what was coming to her." As the video gained traction, the HOA board had no choice but to step in. They launched an investigation into Karen's actions, and soon enough, she was removed from her position. The neighborhood breathed a sigh of relief. Clint Eastwood had fought back and won, but it didn't stop there. Clint's message to the HOA resonated with homeowners all over the country. If Clint Eastwood could stand up to the HOA, maybe everyone could. He became the face of resistance against overbearing neighborhood regulations. And while Karen had lost her position, Clint had gained something much bigger: the respect and admiration of his community. As for Karen, she learned the hard way that you should never mess with someone like Clint Eastwood. Clint watched as Karen stormed off, humiliated and drenched. She had never expected this kind of backlash, and as she retreated, Clint felt a sense of satisfaction wash over him. He had stood his ground, and in doing so, he had sent a powerful message to the whole neighborhood. You don't mess with Clint Eastwood. Over the following days, Clint's actions became the talk of the town. The video of Karen being helpless in his hot tub went viral, and the local HOA board quickly found themselves under pressure. The fallout was swift. Karen was removed from her position, and the power dynamics in the neighborhood shifted. But Clint wasn't interested in the praise or the headlines. He had never been the type to bask in the spotlight. No, what mattered to him was that his space, his peace, had been defended. It wasn't about the hot tub, the HOA, or Karen's petty rules. It was about the principle of standing up for what was right. As Clint sat back on his porch that evening, looking out over the peaceful landscape of his home, he couldn't help but smile. He'd faced down a petty tyrant, and in the process, he had reminded everyone that sometimes the real fight isn't about fighting the system, it's about defending your dignity. And as for Karen, well, she had learned the hard way. Mess with Clint Eastwood and you'll find out just how far he'll go to protect what's his.